Welcome! In this video, I'll guide you through the deployment process using the Azion Starter Kit, focusing especially on the bot manager. The aim is to demonstrate how to optimize the performance and improve the security of an existing application using Azion's resources. Before we start deploying the Azion Starter Kit, it is essential to ensure that the latest version of Bot Manager is active in the user's account. Without this update, the deployment process may fail. Therefore, go to the Azion Marketplace and check that the latest version of Bot Manager has been released. With this check completed, we can move on to deploying the Starter Kit. Now let's start the Azion Starter Kit in the Azion console. This template is ideal when you already have an application running outside of Azion and want to optimize its performance and security using the resources of the Azion platform. Let's start by defining a name for the application. Then enter the source address of your application. In the custom host header, in the case of our demo application, which is HTTP bingo, copy and paste the URL into the origin address field and also into the custom host header. This is necessary for HTTP bingo to work correctly. Once you've filled in this information, click on Deploy. Unlike the process of building a Jamstack application, where the focus is on creating the application from scratch, here we are simply deploying Azion configurations using the platform's API. The process is relatively quick. After deployment, Azion will provide a temporary domain while the propagation of changes takes place. After deployment, we'll analyze what we've created. It will create a single origin pointing to the address that was entered there in the input process when creating the template, and 3 cache configurations are created. One default, one for static files, and one for images. In the rules engine, we'll have a default rule with the set origin and the default cache set, the static files rule, which will have the pre-static cache, and the rule for images, which will have, in addition to the image cache, the optimization of these images. As for the firewall protection, if we open it here and look for the name created there, we'll see the firewall, and inside that firewall, we'll have the Bot Manager instance. And also in the rules engine, we'll have 2 rules, one for the Bot Manager itself, and preceding it, a rule to block requests from the Tor list. Let's demonstrate the effectiveness of Azion's cache in reducing latency time. The first thing is to show the performance of HTTP bingo itself. So, for the initial request, we're going to copy the uncached URL here and run a curl accounting for the image source, which in this case is image/png, and we're going to place it with Azion's cache debugging header. Here, the response time should be longer because this request doesn't go through Azion. So you can see here that by pointing directly at HTTP bingo, the CPU and execution time is just over half a second. Now, instead of pointing to them, we're going to point to our Azion domain. But at first, we don't have a cache. As we can check here in this first moment, since we gave a cache miss, that is, we went straight to the source, the execution time is basically the same as the original request. But now, as you can see in this next attempt, we finally got the cache hit, that is, I hit Azion. And we can see that the execution time, the response time, was much lower. It was less than 1/3 of the response time. In other words, with this, we can already demonstrate that, through this template, users of the application will have much lower latency. On the security side, we're going to use real-time events to monitor the events generated by edge functions, which can be used to better calibrate bot protection. Although we don't have an environment configured to simulate requests from the Tor list, we can observe the output of the bot functions in the Azion console. This template provides a basic layer of caching and security for your application, allowing you to evolve your application to achieve even greater performance and security. Azion provides a solid foundation for future optimizations, either by adding new features or adjusting existing configurations.